So we're just going to do a bit of an experiment today with a bit of a video for our upcoming 7 Years' War Battle of Bergen. I've been collecting the 7 Years' War stuff now for 15-20 years, but very rarely played with it, so it's very nice to get the collection out on the table. So this is going to be a recreation, or approximate recreation, of the Battle of Bergen. And we're just going to have a look down the Allied lines now, and we've got some Hanoverian cavalry backed up by Hanoverian infantry, all parading nicely in their straight lines opposite the town of Bergen. Now if we look up, we can see the French on the opposite side. We're going to have a run down there a little bit later on. In the centre, got a command there consisting of Hanoverian troops with some British cavalry, and at the back, those of you who know the period extremely well know there was no British infantry at Bergen. Unfortunately, I don't have any Brunswick infantry, so we've got some British infantry substituting in for the Brunswickers today, though the cavalry in the battle was British. Moving along, a small vanguard there, which is a couple of battalions of grenadiers and some British cavalry, and then we're on to the far right wing now of the Allied battle, and we can see here a collection of Hessian troops, some grenadiers, some basic infantry, and then at the back we've got some Hessian dragoons backed up by some Prussian hussars. Battlefield is very straightforward. There's a large wood which would have been in a dip on the battle, but I'm not digging a hole in my table, so there we go. Nice open plain in the middle with a central hill on the French side, which was known as the Waard, or the Bergen Vaart. Always makes me giggle, that does. French gun line, and then across to the left we have the town of Bergen, which is unfortunately missing some hedges around the outside, as I'm missing my, missing some 15mm hedges, would you believe, for this game. So I'm going to buy those and get them in place before we start. So going through the French line now, this is the representation of the town of Bergen, surrounded by a wall, and we've got 8 French battalions in there, with a large reserving column behind the town of Bergen, 13 battalions strong. There was a bit of a gap in the French line there, which I'm sure will get filled by something fairly shortly, before the French massed their guns in a battery of 45 guns in between the Vaart and Bergen town itself. French cavalry was massed in reserve behind good old Waard, and then we've got some more French infantry, and again these are grenadiers, Royal and militia grenadiers. Unfortunately I haven't got enough basic French infantry to cover the battle, but we've got substitutes in there as well as some Swiss. And then finally on the French left flank there's a contingent of cavalry and a large contingent of Saxon infantry, which is in front of the wood and the Hessian units that we went through before. So there we go, we're all set up. 15mm Battle of Bergen coming up fairly shortly on the blog, and we're going to be using Die Kriegskunst rules, which are basically General de Brigade for 15mm, and let's see how we get on shortly.